So I think we can Dandavats, Krishna Priya. Good to see you. So I think we can start with the Vandana. And in the meantime, Maharaj will join us. We hope. So, Mini Vandana Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitantan Sajivam Sadvaitan Savadutan Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitanscha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militanjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahavandanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Ghora Tvishe Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vashagoura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai. So, I'm a bit lost. I don't know what to share. I'm suffering in separation of the devotees. I'm back at home. Now, suddenly we are surrounded by devotees. And at the same time, we're lost here at my home. But we have the association with the devotees here on Zoom. This is very special. It's very special too, that we have to use everything in purpose of the spiritual, our spiritual life. It is a beautiful thing. So we can ask if someone has a contribution, questions. I don't know if some inspired by something. I saw that Sevarupa put it here in the chat. Sri Ganga Puja, appearance of Sri Ganga Mata Goswamini. Disappearance of Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu. This could be our topic today. And we have our pandit, or all knowledge, Paramananda Prabhu. Maybe you can start us with saying something about the Ganga Puja and appearance of Ganga Mata, disappearance of Baladev Vidyabhushan, and something else that someone else. Hare Krishna.
Well, a little correction. I'm not all-knowing Pandit. That's first of all. I know very little. I know only what I heard and what I remember. I heard many things, but I remembered very little of what I heard from Guru Maharaj by recordings of Srila Govinda Maharaj. So, and I know he doesn't like to talk, but it's so rare to see Priya Bhakti Prabhu. Priya Bhakti Prabhu, maybe you can say a couple of words. And after that, I will continue. Don't have to say much. Up to you. Well, now he seemed to disappear. No, he's still there. But probably internet is very weak, it seems to. He's a wonderful servitor, really. Disciple of Srila Govinda Maharaj. A resident of Ukai. That's where most of the devotees are living. That's where Rupanuga Prabhu is from there too, from somewhere around there. Anyhow, so I will start with Bhakti Prabhu. I see the internet is not very sketchy, so it's not really stable. And thank you for reminding everybody. We completely forgot to look at the calendar today. So today is the Ganga Puja. And we can start in relation with the devotee of Ganga Devi, which is no doubt Ganga Mata Goswamini. Otherwise, how would she get that kind of name? And she was a princess originally. It's not uncommon, like we hear about Raghunath Das Goswami, practically a prince. Narottam Das Thakur, actually a prince. He was the son of Krishna Datta Maharaj of that particular area in West Bengal, and so many others. Kulashekar Maharaj. We can go on, Tirumangai. You keep going with that. So it's not uncommon to be of high birth, external high birth in this world, and be a devotee. Prataparudra Maharaj, who actually remained as a king, he continued his duties as a king, but was a very dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was ready to renounce his kingdom. If Mahaprabhu wouldn't give him mercy, he was ready to become a mendicant, abandon everything. So Ganga Mata Goswamini, her name, if I remember, please do correct me, because really I wasn't really preparing for this meeting. It was a surprise to me, but I do remember that her name was Sita Devi originally. And since her childhood, she was always very much attracted to Krishna, very much attracted to devotion, to bhakti. And then she went on pilgrimage to Vrindavan, which was a common thing to do for the people of high birth at that time. And then in Vrindavan, she undergone some mystical transformation. And then she decided to dedicate herself. And if I am remember correctly, she approached Haridas Pandit. Again, do correct me, but anyhow, she approached the great Vaishnava devotee, who was one of the prominent Vaishnavas at that time, and asked him for initiation. You please accept me as your shishya, your disciple. But observing her high birth, he rejected. But Ganga Mata Goswamini Sita then, she didn't want it to leave. She kept asking. And she started doing very menial service, just like Narottam Das Thakur. It's a very similar story in a way, how he approached Lokanath Das Goswami. And then she started serving the Vaishnavas, serving her to be a guru. And seeing that kind of resolve and dedication and sincerity, his heart softened. And he gave her initiation. And then she became a mendicant, a lady living in a renounced order of life. And at some point, he received the news, her guru received the news, that the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Puri is being abandoned and falling apart. And then he asked her, can you go to Puri and take care of that house? It's the place where so many leelas happen. Mahaprabhu been there so many times. It's a wonderful tirtha. So you please go there and do what it takes to restore it to its glory. So Ganga Mata Goswamini, she went there. And then she started her service there. And very soon, under her influence, so many people got inspiration. And then everybody started helping her. And soon the house was restored. And it is in a very good condition till present day. And it is on the banks of what is to be known as Sveta Ganga, a beautiful kund. And one day, there's many small stories, but it's a short meeting, so I will shorten the story. One day, Ganga Mata Goswamini, and I believe it was on the day of Ganga Puja, she felt in her heart how much she wanted to go and pay dandavats and worship Ganga Devi. But it was not possible because she was far away and she had duties. It was almost like a kshetra sannyas. She was really dedicated to that particular place. And at that time, many people would come to see her. And with that kind of desire, like burning desire, to go to the Ganges and worship the Ganges, take a bath in the Ganges, she went to rest. And that night, Ganga appeared. And not just that, the Ganga appeared and took, with her waters, the power of her waters, took Ganga Mata Goswamini and formed a beautiful lake nearby the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And it became known as Sveta Ganga. And from that moment on, her name was changed. Her initiation name was, I don't remember it, unfortunately, but from that moment on, she became known as Ganga Mata Goswamini. And she was one of the few female acharyas that we know. We get used to that all the acharyas are men, but actually in our lineage, there were quite a few female acharyas who inspired so many devotees and did wonderful preaching. And she was very knowledgeable too in the Shastra. Many disciples in Orissa and also in West Bengal. And I guess that's all I can say about Ganga Mata Goswamini. And Baladev Vidyabhushan disappearance today. Right, so Baladev Vidyabhushan is another gem-like character in our Guru Varga. He is actually, well, he had a guru, and he was the follower of Madhava Sampradaya, very strict follower of the Madhava Sampradaya. Again, very young, bright person. From childhood, he had no interest in mundane life. Always studied Shastras. I think in a very young age, 11 or 12, something like that, he already mastered most of the Shastras. He knew Vaishnava Shastra very well, Srimad Bhagavatam. He could recite everything by heart and make a beautiful, present a beautiful explanation of the verses. And then, on orders of his guru, he went to Vrindavan, where he met his to-be Shiksha Guru, Srila Vishvanath Chakravarthi Thakur, who gave him shelter. And then he proceeded studying Vaishnava scriptures and serving under the guidance of Vishwanath Chakravarthi Thakur. And at that time, he was already in a very advanced age. And he was the head, at that moment, he was the head of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, residing on the banks of Radhakund. So sometime when we go there for parikrama, we can see the place. I think there's a samadhi of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and also his bhajan place, bhajan kutir, always visiting that place on the banks between, it's just between Radhakund and Shamakund. So he was there for some time. And as he was there, something did happen of rather big importance for the Gaudiyas. At that time, it was the post-second Muslim invasion to Vrindavan. There was the first one about 1,000 years ago when the Persians invaded India in general, and they destroyed much of Vrindavan that was built by Vajranath. And then it went into unmanifest state. And then Mahaprabhu sent Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami and other Goswamis to restore it again, to find all those places, Lila places of Lord Krishna, and establish worship to deities and build the temples there. So there was a second invasion during the time of Aurangzeb, who also destroyed so many temples, and many deities were forced to leave. So the priests and the worshippers, the devotees, would take the deities for safekeeping to Rajasthan. And Rajput kings were so powerful at that time that Aurangzeb would hesitate attacking their kingdom. He would think twice about it. And the most powerful kingdom was the kingdom of Jaipur. There was no Jaipur at that time, but that particular kingdom was very powerful, and it was ruled by the devotee kings, who actually regularly would go to Vrindavan and spend some time there worshiping the deities. So Radha Govinda, Radha Gopinath, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Madhava of Jiva Goswami, Radha Damodar. So Radha Madhava of Jayadev Goswami, Radha Damodar of Jiva Goswami, they all went, Radha Bihari of Lokanath Das Goswami also went there. So many deities went to Jaipur, and the kings established worship. And the main amongst all the deities was, of course, Radha Govinda. And Radha Govinda was worshipped by the kings of the Jaipur at that time. And then later, when the city was built, and the city was built as an offering. So actually, the city belongs to the deity. The deity is in the center of the city. It is located right in the Maharaja compound, the palace, this beautiful temple. And it was the main deity at that time in Jaipur. And it was very important who was worshipping that deity and who was near the worship of that deity. There was also some political significance to that. And it was at that time worshipped by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because the worship was established by Srila Rupa Goswami. And the first pujari, my memory is failing me, I forgot the name, Govinda, and the second servitor. Who remembers the second servitor of Mahaprabhu? Very strong devotee. Please. Jai Gauranga, I think you can do it. There were two, Govinda and okay, maybe I'll just, sometimes it just leaves my head. It's nothing I can do about it. It will come at some point. Anyhow, he was the first servitor sent by Mahaprabhu directly to serve Radha Govinda. Then Haridas Pandit, disciple of Gadadhar Pandit, he went there and he became one of the chief Vaishnava chieftains and also the chief pujari, chief servitor of Radha Govinda. And later Radha Govinda moved, fearing the Muslims, that Muslims will do something to the deity. They moved Radha Govinda to Jaipur, and it is there now. And the deity is so famous and the worship is so important to that deity that all other sampradayas, they become very envious. And then the issue challenged. The Ramanuja, a branch of Ramanuja Sampradaya, came forward and said that, no, what you're doing is wrong. You're just a sentimentalist. You have no proper Sampradaya. How can you worship Radha and Krishna? They're not married. There is no lawful connection. Because as we know, Radha and Radha Krishna, they're a parakiya kind of relationship. They're not officially married. Yes, Kasishwar Pandit, thank you very much. So Kasishwar Pandit was the first pujari of main pujari of Sri Radha Govinda. And Mahaprabhu asked him to go there, and that was heartbreaking for Kasishwar Pandit. And then I cannot leave without you, he said. But then Mahaprabhu, some said, manifested the deity, and that deity is on the altar of Radha Govinda. No, maybe not so many devotees know about it, but if you look down where the lotus feet of Govinda are, you will see a small, relatively small deity of Vijay Govinda. No, not Vijay Govinda. Gaur Govinda. That's the deity name. That was given by Mahaprabhu to Kasishwar Pandit. Anyhow, we're back to the situation. So they're issuing that kind of challenge. And the king, the Sampradaya, Ramanandi branch of Ramanuja Sampradaya, had a very strong presence and influence and authority. So the king couldn't do much. And the challenge was valid. It was considered valid. All other Sampradayas supported, because they also had a little bit of envy towards the Gaudiyas and how Gaudiyas are occupying such an important position in the worship of Sri Govinda, and practically they're in the most worshipable place of that kingdom. So they say, yes, you got a point, so you have to do something about it. So at that time, the Radharani Murti was removed. And the Ramanandis, they took over the worship. Some say they did, some said they forced the Gaudiyas to worship without Radharani on the altar, but it doesn't matter, it's not important. So the king, he was very desperate, and he wanted to establish the truth, but he couldn't go against all the pandits of the other sampradayas. So immediately he sent for Vishvanath Chakravarthi Thakur, whom he considered to be his Shiksha Guru. And he knew that he is fully capable to accept that challenge and to defeat everyone. But at that time, he was very old and unable to travel. So instead of himself, he sends his disciple, his Shiksha disciple, Baladev Vidyabhushan, to face the challenge. And everybody gathered in a place near Jaipur called Galta. We like to go there every time we go to our pilgrimage, annual pilgrimage to India. We always include Jaipur into our schedule because of so many places there that are directly related to our lineage. And we always go to Galta. And the Galta have these two temples facing each other, right at the gate, at the entrance into the compound. And in one of those temples, the one, if you are back to the entrance, it will be one on the left. Let's say you go there alone, at least you will know where to be. It's one on the left. That's where the meeting happened, where all the Sampradaya Pandits and Acharyas gathered. And it was so big, the gathering, that in the historical records it is said there's a particular group of the Vaishnavas that were known for their military skills, martial arts. So they invited that group just to keep peace, just to pacify everybody. So their presence would guarantee, just like the Vaishnava police force. It was that big, and the debate was going to be very big and heated, and who knows, many things could have happened. So they were also present there. And the king of Jaipur, of course, was present there with all the court pundits and everyone, the priests. So Baladev Vidyabhushan was very young at that time. He was in his 20s. And when he arrived to the assembly of august personalities, you can imagine big pandit, long beards, big tilaks, learned, recognized by whole of the country. And he's facing them, and they're all against one. Just think for a second. Put yourself into his shoes, if you even can, to do that. And then you can understand the gravity of the situation. He is going to protect the prestige. If he fails, the prestige of the Gaudiya Sampradaya goes down. So for him, there is no place for failure. It's do or die kind of situation. And he is there, and he is very bright. So that he hears the challenge. And then the Pandits are saying, what say you? And immediately he answers. And the challenge was, that's Srimati Radharani position, that's one. Second is that Gaudiyas, they're not bona fide Sampradaya because they don't have a Vedanta Sutra commentary in this particular lineage. And every bona fide Sampradaya will have their own tika, commentary on Vedanta Sutra, composed by generations of the acharyas, composed and edited and re-edited. So it's literally 100 years in making of those commentaries. So they're saying, you don't have any. You have no place. You have no right to worship Govinda deity. You're nobody. And then Baladev Vidyabhushan answered, but look, Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And we're followers of Srimad Bhagavatam. We accept Srimad Bhagavatam. But that was refuted. Then the Pandit said, Srimad Bhagavatam is not yours. It is for everyone. We also accept Srimad Bhagavatam. But what have you got in your lineage? And then Baladev Vidyabhushan said, well, we don't have any. But if you give me a little time, give me, some said 7 days, some said 12 days, and I will give you the Vedanta Sutra commentary. And everybody started laughing. It was unheard of. I mean, again, if you know what the Vedanta Sutra means, yes, you have to come up with perfect conclusions of all the knowledge there is. Imagine that in 7 days. I mean, sometimes we're preparing for a morning talk, a half an hour morning talk for like a month. Or we don't want to talk because we realize that we have nothing to say. He needed to come up with that kind of substantial, huge work filled with perfect, it's not just a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, each commentary have to be perfect, immaculate to be accepted by the Pandits. Think about it. Not just the volume, but the quality. And everybody started laughing. He said, okay, well, he's young, he doesn't understand anything. Okay, give him a chance. You can have your 7 or 12 days. We see you after. And then Baladev Vidyabhushan, taking shelter at the lotus feet of Srila Jiva Goswami, taking shelter of his Shiksha Guru, Vishvanath Chakravarthi Thakur. He went to Govindaji deity. And then there he's praying, please, Lord, everything is in your power. Aham, he's saying that you are the source of all the Vedas. Vedaisha sarvam aham veda eva vidya, Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaha. You are the source of that. You can give it to me in an instant if you want to. But I have to uphold the prestige of the Sampradaya. I have to protect it. I have to follow my Guru's order. So much depends on how I'm doing it now. And without your mercy, for me, it is impossible. It's not humanly possible to do. But if you give your grace, everything is possible. Like we know that beautiful verse, Mukam karoti vachalam tangum langayate girim yat kripatam aham vande. Shri Gurun dinataranam. By the grace of the Lord, or by the grace of the devotee of the Lord, everything becomes possible. So Govinda heard the prayers and then appeared in a dream of Baladev Vidyabhushan and said, I shall dictate the Vedanta Sutra to you. Your job is to write it down. I'm going to give you that inspiration in your heart and you write it down. And then that happened. And 7 or 12 days later, he is there with his work. And he did the presentation. And it was so shockingly, overwhelmingly, and beautifully perfect that everyone went silent. The whole assembly was completely silent. And it was so heart-melting that not were just silent and agreeing with everything and retrieving their challenge. They're saying, now, all of us, we would like to accept shelter and your lineage. You please give us initiation. We want to be the Gaudiya, the followers of the Gaudiyas. Your commentary is perfect and is humanly impossible, so we're taking it as the will of the Lord himself, Govinda himself. He wants you, the Gaudiyas, to continue that worship. And we would like to take shelter in your line, Mahaprabhu's followers' line. And Baladev Vidyabhushan, with folded hand and great humility, answered to them that, no, please don't do that. You may accept Shiksha in our lineage. Give us respect. Do not disturb us in our worship to Radha Govinda or any other deities we have in Jaipur. But the Lord created the 4 sampradayas for a reason. So please, you go on with sincerity and dedication in your lineages, respecting all other Vaishnavas. And we will continue ours. And such was the humility of Baladev Vidyabhushan that everybody accepted him happily. And then the worship of Radha Govinda was reestablished in Jaipur. So that's the glories of Baladev Vidyabhushan, whose disappearance today. And after Vishvanath Chakravarthi Thakur, he continued to be the head of the Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Wonderful person and very inspiring to talk about them, to hear about them. Really, it gives a lot of inspiration. In a similar position, the Jiva Goswami was the first one who was that Rakak, the Bhakti Rakak, Sampradaya Rakak. When that big Pandit came and challenged Rupa and Sanatan, he defeated him again to reestablish the prestige, to protect the lineage of Mahaprabhu. And then later, Baladev Vidyabhushan. And then again, it came to Srila Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Saraswati Thakur, and especially Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Goswami Maharaj, hence his name, his title, the guardian of devotion. So we came in that particular lineage, and we're so fortunate to be able to talk about it and to hear about it. Srila Govinda Maharaj once said, in great humility, he said, I am amazed how such a wonderful words can come from such a foul mouth. And we can relate to us in that connection. And his humility is saying that. But really, it's a miracle that we can discuss this kind of topics. I guess I will conclude here. Again, Maharaj abandoned us. But he does it. Vaishnava is doing it to increase our love and attachment, devotional attachment, loving attachment to the Vaishnavas. So sometimes they do that. Krishna is doing that too. And since they're devotees of Krishna, so what else to comment? I do have, before I pass microphone to Sri Bhakti Prabhu, who reappeared, or Bimal Krishna Prabhu, we have young Ram Sundar Brahmachari, who is holding the fort here in Thailand. We're on a skeleton crew. We've been abandoned by Lila Moy and others. And there's no excuse to that. Don't have to say anything. Just need to come back as soon as possible. So Ram Sundar Prabhu is holding the fort, and he's taking care of the ashram, the garden, and supervising the construction of the future temple. A few words.
Oh dear. Dandavat, dear devotees. Well, I mean, Paramananda Prabhu basically said everything along today. But one thing actually that was nice in Navadvip Mahatmya, that Nityananda Prabhu was saying that Gopinath Acharya, who I'm pretty sure is the relative, if not brother of Sarvabhauma, relative.
He's I'm really bad with this kind of relation.
Anyways, he's a relative of
he's married to his daughter.
Married to his daughter.
I think.
So maybe a niece or nephew. Anyways, they're related. And in Navadvip Mahatmya, Nityananda is saying that Gopinath Acharya will take birth later as Baladev Vidyabhushan. So it's nice to see how it's all intertwined and nothing separate, and it's all flowing. But I always like little details like that this person is in this Leela, and then soon they come back as this and that, But I don't have much to say, to be honest.
Well, Gopinath Acharya was, infinitely qualified devotee. I still remember that conversation. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was a conversation where he's trying to convince Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of God. And he's saying the one who doesn't have the mercy of the Lord can never understand that he is the Lord, even though he's standing right in front of him. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is asking, Gopinath, are you understanding? He said, yes, I do. I can see that he is the Supreme Personality of God. Then how come you see and I don't? Because I got the mercy and you don't. That was the last drop. He's trying to explain, but the Leela haven't fully developed. So he's taking Bhattacharya to the age of that, basically giving up on him. And when a great devotee, Gopinath Acharya, giving up on him, then Mahaprabhu decided, okay, I have to help him. Really, I have to satisfy Gopinath Acharya and give my special mercy to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. But it's all Leela, anyhow. We can see Leela from a different aspect, from a different angle. It's just infinite manifestations of Lord wills.
That reminds me that later, when Gopinath Acharya and Sarvabhauma are with Prataparuja Maharaj, they're overlooking, they're on some balcony overlooking, and they're watching Mahaprabhu. And this is when Prataparuja is very desperate to have some sort of meeting with Mahaprabhu, even though Mahaprabhu won't allow it because he is a king. Anyways, and then Prataparuja is saying, how can anyone not understand that, Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality, the most merciful? And then it's funny because Gopinath Acharya basically looks over at Sarvabhauma and it's yeah, how is it possible, sort of thing.
Hare Krishna.
So
So many wonderful pastimes. That's why we're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita every day. I've been doing it since what, 1988, and still every day, like today I've been reading it, and I'm finding something that I felt I have never heard before, something absolutely fresh and something absolutely new. Really, it's never redundant. It's almost a magic. And I read other books, like mundane books. Trust me, I did. But you read one, you put it on the shelf. You don't want to come back to it. Vimal Krishna Prabhu. Or, I mean, I'm not forcing you, but
Prabhu, Dandavats to you all. I don't really have a whole lot to say, but just on the subject of what you're talking about, it just reminds me of Vila Govinda posted a video on their YouTube, which I apologize, I don't know the name of their YouTube channel, but they posted a talk by Sudarshan Prabhu's there and Raikishori, and Krishna Kanta is translating, but they do a class, I think it's a Zoom class, but they started, some of the devotees were asking questions, and Krishna Kanta asked a really sweet question to Sudar. She says, like, and forgive me, like, you can all watch it and forgive my offenses, like anything I get wrong, but she asks, so in Krishna Lila, everyone is seeing Krishna not as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but, you know, they're seeing Krishna as, like, you know, their son or their friend or their lover, like all these different relations. And she says, but Mahaprabhu, everybody's seeing Mahaprabhu and everybody's thinking that Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you know, and more of this way. And she asked that, you know, in paraphrasing, but this is kind of her question that was thinking about. And then Sudarshan Prabhu, he goes and he gives this beautiful explanation about Mahaprabhu and just, you know, the kind of the hidden things that Mahaprabhu brings out. And he brings up this whole story of Baladev Vidyabhushan, and talks about how just even like taking the deities to Jaipur and having Radha Govinda, you know, or the deities there together, he said that was something new. So Mahaprabhu is giving these, you know, all these things that are hidden, basically, like, and he talks about Baladev Vidyabhushan coming and defeating them and, you know, creating this thing. But anyway, it's really sweet, and it's just a beautiful talk. I can't even do it justice, and I'll just commit offense. But if that's interesting to anybody, it's on Vila Govinda's YouTube channel. I believe Krishna Kanta on her Facebook page also posted it. But anyway, it's really similar to what you're all speaking about, and just a really beautiful, like you Sudarshan can do it. I can't do it, but I can lead you to it anyway. So that's all I really have. I do appreciate you all. I was reading, I was trying to find it earlier, but Srila Gurudev wrote in Revealed Truth, there was one thing that Gurudev wrote, and he said that practicing life is a suffering life. But he says, but we should carry on with loving affection to the devotees who are also practicing, because he's like, we all suffer enough in our daily lives, you know, with so many mundane things. So like we should continue on practicing with the devotees. And I just have a deep appreciation for everybody here, and really helps my days, you know, move along with your association. So I don't know that's too all.
And we have Chaitanya Prabhu joining us from Vrindavan Dham, from nearby Raman Reti. So what are the news, Chaitanya Prabhu?
My mic is on.
Yes.
Well, Krishna is still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If it's in you.
So nothing changed.
Say again.
Nothing changed there.
Yes, nothing changed. I think today is Ganga Mata appears. No? is it?
Yes, we just had the talk about the glories of Ganga Mata and Baladev Vidyabhushan.
Oh,
Prabhu.
I missed it. Anyhow, it's in Vrindavan is unusually cool. So summer is not started yet. So it's quite mild weather. Yamuna is very nice. I was there yesterday on Yamuna. Very peaceful, full of water. Also surprisingly. Take bus nicely. It's no problem. No many people. Very nice actually. Now is Vrindavan is very nice. Very nice. I have a very, I don't know how can I post photo here? No? Probably not.
I'm not so sure. Maybe Lilamoy knows how to do it.
Got a nice picture of Radha Raman Darshan. It's very beautiful. Oh, no, I don't know what else to say. I'm not a very how do you call it entertaining person. So just do my things.
Yes,
Don't
we
do
know.
service.
Chaitanya Prabhu was serving in Vrindavan for maybe around 25 years now. Something like that. And then
you can say that, yeah, something like that, yeah, almost.
we heard, and you can confirm, we heard that from our Guru Varga, that residing in the Vrindavan residence is for the Goswamis. It's not for the Grihastas, or it's not for the people who are seeking enjoyment, who wants to come and enjoy the Dham. There is only one enjoyer of the Dham, and that will be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And since we heard from Chaitanya, I have nothing changed. Krishna is still that person. So we have to be very careful when we're coming to the Dham. But if one receives the service in the Dham from the above, then he is in a safe position. Then he can continue his presence in the Dham practically without heavy offense. Because person is always engaged in the service. And without the service, if you try to establish just your own griha there and you think, oh, it's so nice to be here, the birds are beautiful, Jamuna is very nice, and people here and there in the temples, and I can go here, I can go here. It will not produce a good result. There is no devotion in there. So we should always be mindful about it. So if you're going to the Dham, first of all, it must come above. That service necessity must for you. And you must be fully engaged. And our Guru Varga, and in the Shastras it is confirmed that the Brajabasi proper is the one who is residing in Dham in connection, in the service connection with the Dham. If one got the service in the Dham, he is the Brajabasi proper. That is the qualification.
Yeah, very nice. I just read yesterday in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that in Vrindavan, there is no, on residents of Vrindavan, there is no tinge of, personal sense gratification. That's basically like, the quality of those who stay in Vrindavan, of Brijabasis. Whatever they do, everything is pointed to Krishna, not for their personal or happiness, whatever. Yeah, what you said is like very nice, very true. I cannot say that I'm in that in that position, but somehow Krishna keeps me here. Somehow he tolerates my offenses. I cannot say that I'm like fully 24/7 like absorbed in meditation and Krishna. That's far from truth. But somehow, by the grace of devotees, I have some little service here, and Krishna still tolerates me.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Do we have anyone else who is inspired, or maybe some questions? Then devotees will try to answer. Lilamo, you're the MC.
Yeah, I was thinking we heard about a lot of challenges and sampradaya challenging other sampradaya and always constantly. But now, at days, do we have this? Because it seems like everything changed, right? I don't know. It's a good question, or I don't know. But do you have something related to that? It's very interesting.
Well, we heard during the time of Srila Guru Maharaj, sometimes the Pandits will challenge Guru Maharaj. And the Pandits would belong to different lineages. And it's possible that they would belong to a different Vaishnava Sampradaya, or they would belong to the Brahmin community or something like that. So during the time of Srila Guru Maharaj, there were several important challenges that Guru Maharaj faced. And of course, just like Baladev Vidyabhushan, he refuted all the arguments and he established the devotion and Mahaprabhu conception as the highest. And everybody was happy. And Srila Govinda Maharaj was telling us that he did it in such a way that he wouldn't destroy the prestige of the Pandits. The prestige will be left to them, which is very important. It was in a very sweet, we may say a very organic way that he would do that. And since his behavior was a perfect sadhu behavior and his conclusions were also perfect, then all those Pandits will submit to Srila Guru Maharaj. And some of them would either ask him for shelter or they will dedicate their sons to Srila Guru Maharaj. They will give the sons, oh, please, you take them as your servitors. It did happen. But we also have to understand that the time passes and the influence of Kali Yuga increases too. So once Srila Govinda Maharaj was asked, that you're going to the West, you're traveling around the world, are you facing like some strong opposition from the Mayavadis and personalists? And Govinda Maharaj said, no. And the reason why, it's so much of a Kali Yuga situation that even the impersonalists became unqualified to issue the challenge. their challenge would be so shallow that there's no much opposition that I'm meeting. So nobody would come forward and challenge me. So that's also have to be considered. No, we don't hear much about that. Not so much. But Srila Govinda Maharaj once pointed out that it is not so important or necessary for a devotee to study the Shastra, to dedicate so much time to studying the Shastra. He says service is all important. But those devotees who are connected with the missionary activities, they must be well versed in the Shastras. Because when we are representing our lineage, we have to be able to conform what we're saying with the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra words. Otherwise, it's just going to be taken as an empty words. And in the West, the Shastra may be a little bit more irrelevant, we can say, because people just don't know, they have no faith in the Shastra. So we have to come up with something else. But generally, a devotee preacher, a missionary, have to be well equipped. And it also gives us extra confidence. If we know the Shastra, if we know what our Guru Varga was commenting about those verses in the Shastras, if we know their explanation given by our guardians, then we can be very confident. And with that confidence, we will present our lineage. And that will also attract other people. Then they will understand, oh, he's talking about something substantial. It's not just some sentimental, fanatical cult follower, but he's got some substance. So that we have to keep in mind. Don't have to be a Pandit, but we have to be acquainted with what Srila Guru Maharaj was giving, what Srila Govinda Maharaj continued after Srila Guru Maharaj giving to us. And substantially, he's giving the same thing, but even more sweeter, more easy to digest for us way, and easy to digest form. So we have to focus on his teachings. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, He went to the West. And his preaching was very sweet, but very strong at the same time. And he's giving a concept that everyone can relate to. And this is why he's pointing out that after my disappearance, to continue your study of Vaishnava Siddhanta, you must approach the Guru Maharaj. He will give you more. You will be ready for that. What I have given to you is the basis. If you want something more, I have no time. I am about to leave the world, but Guru Maharaj will take it further. It's not that Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he did not have that knowledge of Siddhanta. He had full knowledge. But again, he was acting according to time, place, and circumstance. Anyhow, so we just need to be conscious about it. Don't give empty words. Try to conform. This was said by Guru Maharaj. This is what I got from Govinda Maharaj, from Srila Prabhupada, from Srila Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami. So many. We have so much wealth. We have big capitalists. We have nothing. We're beggars. But we have huge capitalists to support us. And they're freely giving their capital. They're saying, use it. It is for you. We came here to give it to you. So why not use it? And by the way, their compositions are so beautiful and so sweet and so inspiring. First of all, you will have to get inspired. And when you're inspired, immediately you want to share with others. It's just natural. It's not some kind of a forced obligation to go and engage in missionary activities, to go and preach to people, try to attract. How can you attract somebody if you're forced to do that? You have no attraction. How can you attract anyone? You're not sincere. You have no faith. And how can you, give faith to someone? What's the verse? Bhaktam Jataya Bhakta. Only bhakti can attract the bhakti. Only sincerity can attract sincerity. Only faith can attract faith. Only someone who is inspired can inspire others. Anyone have anything to say? Add, comment?
Paramananda Prabhu, I was just thinking about, because when you were talking about Baladev Vidyabhushan, when he went and he gave his discourse, like they could understand that it was something substantial and high, and they could honor that. But nowadays, I think people are we're at such a degraded level that, like, and we have such an ego that we can't, even if you're telling them something that's profound in the truth, like, they still may not accept it just based on the fact of the ego. And like, we're just so degraded nowadays that people will just argue with you to argue with you. They won't actually recognize the truth, or that maybe they've been defeated in some way, because it's the ego is just so big. And anyway, just something I was thinking about, because I always thought that's interesting when you hear that they go and have a debate and they're defeated. And I always just thought, like, yeah, because they're humble as well. There's some humility there to realize that something is greater than what we think we know, or what's been previously shown. But anyway, just the thought I had. But
We're going to say the people had a class, and we're talking about the assembly of the Vaishnavas. So the principle of humility, tolerance, giving honor is actually, it runs in all the Vaishnava Sampradayas. So you're right. That's why Govinda Maharaj, following Guru Maharaj's style of preaching, he would always say, do not demolish the person. Leave some prestige for him. Let him feel somehow important, but at the same time, you put the seeds in his heart. And also, we don't have to argue with one who have no faith in the beginning. A person can be exposed and then let his inspiration take that person from there. He will be guided by Krishna in his heart. So we're not going to force it on person. So we're just trying, like Govinda Maharaj said, we're not trying to preach, we're trying to inspire people. But again, we come to the same point. You cannot inspire if you are not inspired yourself. So if someone is inspired by anything, it's contagious, like anything. I'm not talking about spiritual. I'm talking about mundane stuff. Somebody's really fired up and he comes up and says, let's just do it together. Let's just, start something. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. That's how it all starts, All the writing starts like that. The lowest kind of behavior starts like that because someone is very inspired to do that. So in a similar way, we have to be inspired to do that. But where are we going to get that inspiration? From the association with the inspired. And that's why it's always a fundamental thing, the association with the Vaishnavas and avoidance of the apparat of the Vaishnavas. Sometimes we're hearing from some devotees this, I see around me, I cannot find any pure devotees. Everybody is somehow contaminated. They're not pure. I better stay away from the association. I chant the holy names. I read the Shastra. I mean, that is a fatal disease. Really, really, I have nothing to say even to that. So much is given to us already, the position of the Vaishnava in the Shastra by our Guru Varga. Krishna himself points that out. But we have to be very careful. Govinda Maharaj says, we are unable to recognize the devotion. So our situation is give respect to everyone, be tolerant, be humble. That is the safest position. Since we cannot recognize if he is a devotee or not, who knows what's in the heart? The real devotee will never make a show out of devotion. Means, since we do not possess that much, we have no potency to recognize how much he's got in his heart. It's between him and the Lord. Only one who is in a similar or higher position can say, oh yes, he is a devotee of the Lord. Even though he may not dress like a devotee, he may not even behave like a devotee. Like Guru Maharaj asking that question of Saraswati Thakur, what to do? What should be my attitude? What should be my action towards a person who is not properly behaving in a society? He is a devotee, but he is not behaving in the society properly. He is not following the rules and laws of the society. How should I see it? And then Saraswati Thakur, he is giving the Bhagavad Gita verse, Apichesu Duracharo, short explanation. But then 6 months later, they're in Madras and Saraswati Thakur delivering the talk. He's reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And then suddenly he comes upon this verse, Swapadamula Bhajata Priyasya Tiktanya Bhavasya Hari Paresha, Vipadayat Tatpachitan Tatonya, Dhunoti Sarvam Hridi Sanivishtam. And then he says, Sridhar Maharaj, here is your answer. And there it is said that for surrendered soul, and surrendered soul means we may not be fully surrendered, but we're trying, we're moving in that direction. We're going along the way. If he is keeping Krishna in mind, service to Lord's devotees in his mind, but due to his past misdeeds, past karma, he still commits some kind of abominable acts. Krishna nullifies his reactions, and he is to be considered a perfect sadhu. I mean, in our world where the justice is above mercy, it's very difficult to accommodate, difficult to digest. But it is so because Krishna himself points that out. Devotee is above everything. Devotion is above everything. There is nothing higher than that. Justice does not work in this case. It's going to be the opposite, mercy above justice. A person is on his way. We don't know what happened in the past life. We don't know what kind of baggage he is carrying, how difficult it is. But he is the recipient of the mercy, and he is to be considered as such, a recipient of the Lord and the Lord's devotee's mercy. And hence he is aspiring devotee. And we are to bow down to that person, regardless of how he may act or how he may look. We have to be very careful with that judgments. And if we have difficulty digesting that, Saraswati Thakur is giving us a very good remedy. Keep respectful distance. Really, there will be no judgment. From far away, you pay your respects, not because you're thinking, oh, that person is so abominable, I don't want to come closer. No, because you will think, oh, I am not ready. I cannot understand the extent of devotion in the heart of this person. I may commit offense. So I better keep myself far away from that person. He may be a great Vaishnava, but I am not. So from distance, I will offer my obeisances to him. So that is the consideration, not the opposite. Leela Prabhu.
Amazing. So we have in the chat box the YouTube link for the talk with Sudarshan Narkishari that Bimal Krishna mentioned. If you want to see the talk, copy the link and other things also that Sivarupa shared with us. Then, anyway, we going to end here. All glories to our masters. Jai Srila Bhaktiranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Raksh Dadev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Rupa Nuga Gurvaga ki Jai, Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Namachar Srila Das Thakur ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Sarasvata Acharya Vrinda ki Jai, Jai Sripad Paramananda Prabhu ki Jai, Chaitanya Nitai Das Prabhu ki Jai, Bimal Krishna Prabhu ki Jai, all assembled devotees ki Jai, Anam Sankirtan ki Jai, Guru Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo.
And I just wanted to say a couple of words. I'm very grateful from my side that devotees are attending despite Maharaj's absence. And really, when Maharaj is traveling, sometimes it's humanly impossible to participate because of the time zones, of the moving from one place to another place, flights, trains, cars, etc. He's trying his best, and he's been trying, and actually not trying, he's been doing it for how many years? Ilamoy, what's the number now? 500 something.
Yeah, 536, yeah.
And Maharaj really wants it to continue, to keep going. So it's good that devotees are gathering and supporting the BBBC and contributing to. That will make Maharaj very happy and very satisfied. And isn't that our goal, to satisfy the Vaishnava?
Jai. And thank you, Paramananda Prabhu, to keep us alive and giving us so much nourishment. And every one of us here are nourished, I'm sure. Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Dvancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo. Dandavats Hare Krishna Hare Hare Bo.